Hi, welcome to episode 34 of the Gentle Knitter podcast. My name is Nicole and I'm coming to you from Ottawa, Ontario. Today is Thursday, July 2nd, and I'm actually off work today. Yesterday was Canada Day, so it was our national holiday, and I decided to sort of turn it into an extra long weekend. So I took today and tomorrow off. And so I'm really enjoying this little break. I feel like I really needed it. It's been a bit of a roller coaster summer, busier than I anticipated that it would be. So even though the museum is still closed to the public, we are preparing an exhibit that opens this fall, and so it's been incredibly busy. And I actually thought that I was going to be furloughed for 8 weeks. The museum, of course, most of their revenue, their annual revenue, is made up in the summer because that's when we have, you know, all of our visitorship. We have lots of tourism here in Ottawa, and so the museum is kind of in a, you know, not in a great financial position right now. But it was announced that the government is going to be funding, going to be giving money to to national museums to help with the situation. So so I thought I was going to have 8 weeks off this summer, starting now. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's wonderful news. I'm so grateful that I'm not getting laid off. However, you know, once you've kind of accepted some bad news and you kind of start thinking, well, you know, what else could I do? I was looking forward to having 8 weeks off, I have to admit. And I had some plans. I was going to work on possibly some knitting design. Yeah, it wasn't meant to be. So yeah, things are gonna continue to be quite busy for me this summer, but I will be taking some vacation in August, just kind of a staycation, obviously, not traveling anywhere, but yeah, it's been it's been a year, hasn't it? You know, with everything that's going on, with, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement, which is, you know, long overdue, obviously, and it's something that I have been, that has been occupying quite a lot of my sort of, my mental time, if you will. I've been sort of doing a lot of reading and reflecting and looking for ways of contributing to this movement, and just looking at what work I need to do within myself to help make a change. So there's that, and then of course COVID is, you know, still quite a serious situation. Here in Canada, things are definitely getting better, although in Ontario we still have, we are definitely on the decline in terms of sort of daily infection rates, which is great, but people are still being very cautious, and there's still, you know, a lot of social distancing measures in place. So things are definitely not back to normal here, although, you know, nothing compared to the situation that's going on right now in the States. And to all my American friends, please stay safe, and I hope that things get better very soon where you are. It's really quite upsetting to see what's happening. So, you know, wear your mask, practice social distancing, be careful, because COVID is no joke. So yeah, other than that, I'm doing really well. My health is a lot better. Thank you to everybody who's been so supportive of me as I've been sort of talking about my sort of health woes this year. Yeah, the treatment that I received for my thyroid, I think has been quite a success. The jury's still out on whether I will need to go on hypothyroid medication. In the long run, the radiation does slow down my thyroid, and so moving it from a hyperthyroid state into right now seems to be a normal state. I'm not on any hypo or hyperthyroid medication, and I feel a lot better. My energy levels are much better, and yeah, just feeling more like myself. So that has been really great, but I have been very mindful to try and stay healthy amidst a global pandemic, because I didn't really feel like I needed yet one more health issues. So yeah, things are good. Things are really good. I am knitting up a storm as usual and looking forward to showing you what I've been up to. So let's jump on in. So first off, why don't I talk about what I am wearing? This is a brand new cardigan that I am absolutely in love with. It is a pattern by Ankestrick, and it's the Notice cardigan. It says Notice Spring, so maybe she has a heavier version for the winter time, but it is a very, very basic, simple raglan, and I made a cropped version. The original is much longer, and I also made it quite A-line, so it's sort of more fitted in the top, and then I've done some increases to sort of give it that line. I wanted it to be something that I would wear with dresses, and I'm super, super happy with it. The yarn I used is yarn that I started a different project, which I believe I showed you last winter. It's a Tidal Yarns yarn, and it is a DK weight, but it's maybe more, to me it's a little more sport, and it's naturally dyed with indigo. So it is dyed on a brown based yarn. So you've got a nice sort of speckled, not speckled, but sort of heathered tone to it. It's not an even blue. It's got some brown in there, I think you can see. And it's a very, very lovely, very soft yarn. It's not like overly woolly. It almost has a slight cottony feel, and it just creates this beautiful, very, very, like I said, light garment that just feels so comfortable. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. So originally I had bought the yarn as part of a kit to make a pullover, and I think that that's what I was knitting when I showed the yarn the last time. The pullover was a pattern that came with the yarn. I forget the name of it right now, but the so the yarn was sold as a kit, and the pattern was only came in one size. It's kind of like this very oversized, boxy pullover, really, really sweet, with a little pocket with a contrasting color. So I started knitting it, but I was not at all happy with the fit, and I realized that what I really wanted was just a light cardigan, because that's what I need and love to wear. So yeah, so I decided I would just pick something else, and I was super happy with it. One of the other modifications I made is I only put buttons at the top. I didn't do buttonholes anywhere else. The buttons I put on, sorry, let's put this down, are little bone buttons that I bought at Rhinebeck. I forgot to mention, or I don't know if I mentioned, the yarn was bought at Rhinebeck. These little bone buttons are actually vintage buttons. The lady told me they were buttons that they put on Victorian underwear. So they're just really simple and plain, and you know, they just feel handmade, and I just thought they looked really nice. Yeah, so all in all, I'm super happy with it. It was a very nice pattern, super easy to read. I like the way she lays out her pattern. So depending on the size that you're making, it's sort of written as a chart, and then you have kind of your increases in a chart form that's very, it's just really easy to follow and easy to, instead of it being all written out. And I've knit a few of her patterns before, and I like that formatting. One thing the pattern did not include, and I also usually would just do but didn't this time, is do short rows in the back. Yeah, I'm not sure. I just was eager to get going, and I just, it's a top-down raglan, and I don't know, I forgot. But I don't mind. I actually do like the way this fits, and because the neckline is not very wide, I don't feel like I'm very uncovered in the back. So all in all, I'm very happy with the fit. I think I knitted the medium, but I did add some sort of increases to the bottom. So the bottom is probably more a large. So yeah, that's my new cardigan. The next thing that I knit is I knit two shawls. The first one is I had seen this shawl on Woolly Mammoth on Emma Robinson's podcast. I think I've talked about her before. She has a really lovely podcast. She's a natural yarn dyer, and I really love her yarn and would love to get more. But she had knit this shawl in her yarn, and I just thought her version was so beautiful. The shawl is called the Stay Soft shawl, and here it is. It's a pattern by Vera Valanaki, and it's like a shallow triangle, and it's knit in sections. So you've got, I'm trying to remember here, it starts with this plain section here, and then you start striping with another color, and then you finish off with another color, and then you pick up and knit the bottom wedge, if you will. And so it's a very pretty and easy and fun shawl to make. You've got a kind of an edging. When you're working the first part of it, you've got yarn overs, and that's kind of what you pick up to work the last section. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. It is I really love this shape of shawl and this size of shawl. I feel like for me it's just a great kind of scarf size, if you will. and it's, you know, in the winter I pretty much always have one of these on. And I really like that it's got different colors to it. It's sort of really fun. I haven't knit that many multicolored shawls. I know, you know, they're quite popular. Stephen West has a whole bunch of them, but yeah, I'm very, very happy with it. The pattern was great, easy to follow. The yarns I've used are pretty much all Viola yarns. Of course, one of my favorite yarn dyers. The blue here is, so I think pretty much all of the yarns I've used are her Polwarth Alpaca blend, and the blue is actually a color that that I dyed when we had a get-together of a group of friends at her studio a couple of summers ago, and we decided to sort of have this like group dye pot, and we would all basically have one skein that matched. So when I say I dyed it, myself and a bunch of other people, we kind of all worked together to create this color, and it's a really beautiful kind of steely blue that has little specks of cranberry. So like I said, a Polwarth Alpaca blend, beautiful blend that Viola regularly has in her shop. I believe she's having a shop update very soon, and so if you're, I often get questions from viewers asking how, you know, how to get her yarn. It's quite difficult to get because, you know, she's a very small operation and she has limited production. My advice to you is to sign up for her newsletter at Viola in the Moon. I'll put the address right here. If you sign up for her newsletter, you'll get sort of told in advance, you know, when her next shop update will be, and then basically set a timer because her stuff sells out really quickly. But it's so worth it. So yeah, so the blue, like I said, is a color that I dyed a couple of summers ago with friends. The this kind of bone color here is her silver birch colorway, and then the beautiful kind of purple mauve color here, well, not mauve, it really is like more of a lilac with some blue in it, is it's the yarn that I used for my soiree sweater. I'll put the name of the color because I don't remember, but I had a skein left over. So I just wanted something that had very, very soft, kind of low contrast wedges and stripes, and yeah, I'm very, very happy with it. It's really light and just a lovely wearable piece. It has a little I-cord bind off, which is always a lovely touch. I really I'm working on another project which I'll show you in a minute, and it has a lot of I-cord on it, and what a great finish. It just really makes everything so lovely and tidy. So yeah, my Stay Soft shawl. I knit another shawl, which you may have seen if you follow me on Instagram. I knit this shawl here, which is called the Cristal. I'll just show you the texture of the fabric before I open it all up. It's a really, really beautiful, very, very simple lace, and again, sort of a very shallow triangle. And this thing is going to be just heavenly once the winter months come back. Excuse the slight wrinkles there. I've had it folded up for a little while, but it's like a very, very simple, intuitive lace. The pattern is by LB Hand Knits. The designer, her name is Albina, and one of the things that I love about that is that that's my grandmother's name. So it's my mom's mom. Her name was Albina, and she was just a beautiful, wonderful person, and somebody who inspired me a lot, because she was just you know, always made things with her hands. She was a quilter mainly, and a very, very gentle and funny, and just a very sweet person. And so, and I had never come across somebody else with the same name. So Albina, like I told you, I don't know, there was just something really lovely about the fact that she had the same name as my beloved grandmother. Yeah, so anyway, this shawl is huge. It is, like I said, kind of a shallow triangle. The pattern actually calls for a beautiful lace border, but I just wanted it to be a little bit more just simple. I enjoy, mentioned this many times, but I really enjoy kind of a lacy, a rustic lace, rustic yarns in a lace. Don't like it to be too fussy, and with this all over pattern texture, I was just really happy with the way this looked. So I don't know, I might change my mind. I've seen some finished versions of this shawl that I think are amazing. So I don't know, I thought, oh, maybe I should have put the lace border, but anyway, I can always change my mind if I want to. But here it is incredibly warm. The yarn is very, very special yarn. It is Knitography, which is an unspun single ply yarn, very similar in its construction to Plötulopi, the Icelandic unspun yarn. So it's got the same kind of very very fragile quality, if you want, but once you get the hang of working with it, it's actually really not that hard. The trick to it is to basically unravel a length of it, gently unravel a length of it, and then when you're working with it, you're not putting any tension on it. If you were to sort of have your ball next to you and just kind of yanking yarn off the ball the way you normally would with a spun yarn, you would definitely encounter a lot of problems. But no, it's really pleasant. I actually worked with this yarn held single. A lot of people will work with it held double, and that definitely does add a lot more strength to it while you're working. But I just wanted like the lightest, kind of airiest version of the shawl. And honestly, once I got the hang of it, it wasn't a problem. And once it's knit up, just the action of knitting will slightly twist the yarn, so there's really no problems in terms of, once it's knit, it creates a lovely durable fabric. I blocked this and it was totally fine. I'm not at all concerned that it will break. So the yarn, like I said, is Knitography by a yarn producer. I'm not sure how they pronounce the name of their company. It's Oner Oker or Honer, Osher, I don't know. Carolyn, you'll have to tell me how you pronounce your company name, but they are a mill in Sweden, and I actually have been following their work for quite a while. They have a podcast that is for Patreon subscribers, and so I've been subscribing to their Patreon for quite a long time now. And Carolyn is an artist, and her husband Knut, they make this yarn out of all Swedish yarns. So it's a blend usually of different Swedish produced fiber, and they do these beautiful mixes of color. So I don't know if you can see, this colorway was called All Things, and it was actually their first batch of Nutiden yarn. They now come out with collections every couple of months. I actually bought some of their yarn in one of their latest collections, and I'll show you. Their colors are very very rich, complex, very layered. Some are slightly more even in tone, like this one is a beautiful orangey, like a rust color, and it's mostly like orange and yellow and some natural brown fiber. Then you've got this stunning teal that's got quite a lot of gray and different colors of teal in there. It's very beautiful. And then so I've got kind of one plate of each of these. But I bought a sweater's worth of this blend, which is their Storm blend, and I will be casting something on with this very, very soon. And this is, I don't know if you'll be able to see how rich that is. It is a mix of browns and dark blue and a little bit of like wine and purple. It is just the most beautiful yarn. The color Storm is like perfectly named. As I started saying earlier, Carolyn is an artist, and she is, you know, has one of the most refined aesthetic senses of anybody out there. Everything she makes is exquisite, and yeah, I am completely in love with everything they make. And if you are interested in their yarn, becoming a patron is a great way to not only support what they do, because it's a two-person team and I know they work tirelessly, but also Carolyn puts out a beautiful podcast that's really, really gorgeous to look at, and just so inspiring. And I highly recommend following them and supporting them. And the other bonus is that if you are a Patreon, you get sort of an early shop update before it goes to the public. So if you want to get some of their yarn, that is a great way of doing that. So anyway, the Nutiden is very special, and I know you're going to be seeing me work on it, with it, a lot more in the upcoming months. But yeah, my beautiful shawl, my Creostyle shawl by LB Hand Knits is going to get a lot of wear this winter. So that's it for finished objects. I've got a couple of half finished objects. I've got 2 pairs of socks here. So the first half finished object is my Into the Woods sock, and it is a beautiful, beautiful sock pattern by Melody Hoffmann, another person who is an incredible designer that's well worth following on Patreon. She puts out a lot of really great content for her Patreon subscribers, and I just really love everything that Melody makes. This sock is made with some yarn by La Bien-Aimée and Mondim. So the base of the yarn is made by Mondim. It is their, sorry, the blend is Mondim, the yarn is Retrosaria Pomar, and it was dyed by La Bien-Aimée. And this is the, oh dear, what's the color name? Something to do with a bird or, okay, I'll put the name down. I apologize, but it's a very pretty beige with little specks of yellow and brown. The base, the yarn is a non-superwash sock yarn, and yeah, I'll have to be careful with these and hand wash them, but it's a really, really nice blend. It feels really nice and toothy. I had shown these before on the podcast. However, I ripped back what I had knit because they were coming out really, really huge and loose. I think I had used the needles that were recommended in the pattern, and I needed to go down a size. So these were knit on 2.5 millimeter, and I knit the larger size because I have big feet, and I just started the second one. Oh, I should show you the project bag I'm holding these socks in. This really sweet polar bear here is it's a bag made by the Blue Rabbit House, and the creator of that company, she does these incredibly beautiful watercolor illustrations, and then has some fabric printed with the illustration, and makes these gorgeous project bags. So that is very, very sweet. And the sock blockers I'm using are the sock blockers made by Knitography by Patricia Fortune, and I really like them. I have another half finished object, and it is also on a sock blocker and held in a sweet bag by Brooklyn Haberdashery, and it was kindly gifted to me by 2 very sweet ladies. Ladies, you know who you are. Thank you so much. So I decided to make little shorty socks because in the house I tend to wear Birkenstock clogs, and sometimes my feet can get a little, just feel a little sweaty in them. So I thought for the summer it would be fun to knit a couple of little shorty socks. So it's just a basic vanilla sock that I made up. I did a German, what's it called? It's like the long tail cast on, but it's the German long tail cast on, and it has an extra twist in it, so it makes a stretchier cast on, which is good, especially with a shorty. I feel like you really want a lot of room there to slip it on. I did my usual garter stitch little detail on the back of my heel. I get asked this every time I show socks that I've knit. Basically what I'm doing is I'm doing a just a regular short row, heel flap, not a short row, but a regular heel flap, and I am knitting the three stitches on either side of that heel flap are done in garter stitch. And the reason why I do that is because then when it comes time to pick up stitches to knit the gusset, you've got these purl bumps, and it's really easy to pick up the stitches to do that. So and I just like the way it looks. It just adds a little detail. And then I did my kind of rounded toe, so it's basically just a set of decreases. I start off by usually it's knitting, let's say for a 72-inch sock, I believe it's knit 8, knit 2 together all the way around, and then I knit 7 rows, and then it's 7, 2, and then 6 rows, 6, 2, and then 5 rows, so on and so on till you get to the end. So you've got this line of decreases at regular intervals, and it's kind of happening faster and faster. So you end up with a very rounded toe, which is what I prefer. The yarn is, it's a really sweet speckled yarn by Lola Bean Yarn Company, and there's her adorable label of her little girl Lola, and the colorway is it is He Who Must Not Be Named, obviously a reference to Voldemort in Harry Potter, and it is her bean sprout blend, so it's an 80/20 superwash merino nylon blend. So just your classic sock, merino sock base, but it's really nice. It's very tightly, very nice. There's a nice twist to it, so it creates a really lovely and durable fabric. So very happy with those, and I don't know, maybe I'll be able to get 2 pairs out of it. We'll see. My last work in progress is holding it in a beautiful Bookhou Linen bag, and I kind of feel like it wouldn't be a Gentle Knitter podcast episode if I didn't talk about my friend Aruna's work. She had done these bags last summer at Emily Foden's open house, studio open house. Aruna had made these bags, and they're based on a beautiful photo that was in Emily's book, Knits About Winter, which I've talked about a million times too. But anyways, she had these kind of like limited edition little project bags with a leather cord, and so what I'm holding is a Viola Yarns project. The yarn is also her Polwarth Alpaca, and it's this really beautiful color. It's called Giant Peach, and it is it's a very soft, very muted peach. It's got a lot of brown in it, and it's so squishy and incredibly soft, and it's a color that I just really love. I think it's very it's just really pretty, and it almost acts as a neutral because it goes, you know, really beautifully with grays and black and blue and yeah, beige. So I'm knitting another Ankestrick pattern. It's called the Girlfriend Cardigan, and it'll be a little bit difficult perhaps to show you what it looks like. This is it so far. It's a drop shoulder. Let me insert a photo so you can see. So it's a drop shoulder, quite sort of slouchy cardigan, really cozy, and it's all garter stitch. And I was talking earlier about I-cord. Everything on this cardigan is edged with I-cord, and actually the beginning of the cardigan, I've never done this construction before, but you actually start the sweater by knitting an I-cord and then picking up stitches on the I-cord itself. And that was really fun. It was, I'd never done that before, but it just creates a beautiful and very, very elegant shoulder seam here. And yeah, this fabric is absolutely heavenly. I've tried it on. It fits really beautifully, exactly the way I want it to. And it'll be just an easy piece to throw on with a t-shirt and jeans, or, you know, over a dress too. It's just really lovely. I'll be picking up stitches along the drop shoulder with a fairly fitted sleeve. So yeah, I'm incredibly happy with it. It's kind of like a total brainless knit, really easy. You're just doing your I-cord edging, and then it's just garter stitch for days, which I never get tired of. Oh, I wanted to talk about these little, these cool little needle stoppers, I guess, that I got from a company called All Stitch Studio. And she reached out and asked if she could send me a little packet of these little, what does she call them? Natural cork stitch stoppers, and they come in a range of sizes to fit needles US 3 to 17 or 3.25 millimeter to 12 millimeter. And so they're just really ingenious. It's just a little cork round with a hole, and they are marked. These are the small size, and they're really great. They don't slip off, and they're just really attractive, and obviously it's a renewable resource, and just it's very eco. She, I think that her company, she really strives to have no plastic packaging, and I've been using them a lot, and really love how they stay on, and they are just really great. They're really light, and yeah, they look nice too. So anyway, this is going really fast. I started this sweater I don't know, maybe a week ago, and I've just been working on it nonstop. So looking forward to getting this one done. I think this will be a piece I will wear a ton. Well, I think that's going to be it for me today. But a bit of a shorter episode, I guess. Lots of knitting, but I didn't really take any B-roll. I have to say it's been quite hot, and the paths and the trails around here have been closed to the public. They just finally reopened very recently, so it's been difficult to kind of go out in the woods and take footage of that, but I'm glad I got a chance to kind of catch up with you and show you what I've been up to. And I hope again that you are all staying safe and healthy, and that you are, despite everything that's going on, that you're having a lovely summer. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. All right, bye.